Good morning. Looks like we are live, or if it's not 11 a.m. on Halloween, then we're not live. You're watching this as a video, but welcome anyways. Let me have a little bit of tea. So, on Halloween morning, are we coffee, tea, or caffeine free? That's my first question of the day. Again, I'm all in my Halloween garb here today. So, celebrating the seasons. So, before we get started, we're going to jump into tarot in just a minute or two. Very interesting aspects, astrological, numerological aspects are coming up for the month of November. Coffee, tea. Yeah, I'm having black tea this morning. I've had a very long, busy week, and I'm going to have another very long, busy week. So it doesn't really end. But, anyways, I love Halloween. It's also Samhain, as many of you know on the Celtic calendar. It's also El Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, and All Hallow Eve becomes All Hallows Day, November 1st. So, this is where we celebrate death as the true beginning of life. So, in the Celtic calendar, Samhain is the new year where everything's dying, everything's hibernating, the leaves are falling from the trees. It's actually the new beginning. So happy New Year, everybody! And just quickly tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do live mediumship here on the Medium channel. So mediumship on the Medium channel, that would be appropriate. And I don't know about you guys, but this has been a very powerful Halloween season or Samhain season, and that I obviously I talk to spirits 365 days a year, but I've really noticed it's been very palpable how strong the spirit world's been, and I've been like seeing them floating around my room and everything. So so, excuse me. So it's definitely been the number 13. There's 13 people on right now. And the card that I wanted to talk about is the death card, key 13 in the tarot. That's appropriate. But before I get too ahead of myself, so tonight at 8, we'll do live mediumship, and yeah, I'll give away a free one-on-one reading also. I like to do that in my live mediumship event. So we'll see who comes through. That's tonight at 8. And what else is on the calendar this week? Well, Thursday's the new moon. It's a kind of a contentious new moon in a way, because the sun and the moon, for that matter, because they're conjunct on the new moon, is going to be opposing Uranus. And Uranus is really about like revolutionary change, sudden change, explosions of energy, explosions in consciousness. So this is going to be a very interesting lunar cycle. And on Wednesday night here in the channel, I'm going to do my Ascension updates for November. So I did them for October. If you recall, if I don't even know if I'm recalling correctly, we talked about how a lot bubbling beneath the surface in October, but will likely come out November and December. So November's tomorrow. And then the new moon begins on the 4th, I guess it is. So the 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern time, live, I'll be doing the Ascension updates, what to expect, for the month of November, as far as like our awakening goes, as far as the changes and the shifts in the planetary energies go, in collective consciousness, all these things that are affecting us as the vibrations continue to ramp up, the energy flowing through us and everything keeps increasing. We, as humans are really kind of, striving to kind of stay, catch up with it. So take really good care of yourselves, especially now. A lot of water. Do things that will really enhance, like things like cellular functioning and stuff like that. Because as the energy increases, it creates a certain amount of stress on our nervous systems and our cells as our bodies not rebuild, but enhance according to the enhancement of energies. And eventually, sooner then later, this is already happening with a lot of people. Once the energy reaches a certain threshold, then dormant DNA light codes start to flip on. So it needs to reach a certain threshold of energy, both individually and in the collective. So I'll talk more about that on the third, but it is very relevant now as well. So on the fourth, this will be on Zoom with Heather Istara, who's our brilliant healer that you met on a couple of our live events. So she and I do a new moon event on Zoom, and you can email us. It's info@atombetweentheworlds.com. I didn't have a chance to write it up on the comment stream earlier, but info@atombetweentheworlds.com, and then you can get the passcodes for Zoom. It's a free event. Heather does a healing transmission. I do an energy transmission to kind of gear up for the next lunar cycle, and it's going to be a big one. A lot's going to be changing. A lot's going to be shifting. Monday, November the 8th, we're bringing Sharita Starr on the channel. I think we're at 1 p.m., but I can't recall the exact time, but I think we decided on 1 p.m. for that. Of course, everything that's live becomes a video on YouTube. So if you don't catch it live, you'll catch it as a video. But she's a very brilliant astrologer and numerologist, and she's had her finger on the pulse of these earth change times, the 2020s, the roaring 20s, as I call it, and I found out she calls it that also because of the 1920s was called the Roaring 20s. But now this Roaring 20s is about awakening and increasing disparity between those that are awakening and those that resist the awakening. And sooner or later, that rubber band's got to snap, that it keeps getting stretched farther and farther. And that's what's really happening. But it's going to precipitate a lot of awakening. So she'll break it all down with the new moon, or it'll be after the new moon, but the coming eclipses on the full moon and the following new moon are both eclipses. And there's other very interesting aspects that are coming up where we're going to be coming into a Venus retrograde. And so she'll break it all down for us and kind of teach us what we need to know and what we need to do to prepare for this massive shift in human consciousness and the subsequent shifting in the societies that relates to. So anyways, good morning all. And it is Samhain, it is Halloween. So I pulled the death card just because it's very relevant. It's rules over the sign Scorpio. So we're in the Scorpio season now, obviously. And Samhain, Halloween, and all those celebration de los Muertos is all about death and rebirth. So it's the new year. What needs to things need to die in order to be reborn. That's what the death card means. It's not, when this comes up in a reading, it's seldom about like a physical death. It's much more about symbolic death and rebirth. So it's much more about that kind of energy that from time to time we have to do that. And that's basically an initiation. So when we get an initiation to a higher level of consciousness, and elevation in consciousness isn't like a steady line. It's like you plateau, then you have an energetic quantum leap of sorts. A quantum leap is when an electron jumps from one orbital tendency to a higher orbital vibration, because they don't really orbit. In fact, electrons kind of exist as wave M particles. So so that's a whole other story. But that's a term about states of energy. So that happens to us. We leap, and then we kind of learn, assimilate, process the new consciousness. And then when we're ready, maybe months and maybe years and maybe lifetimes later, then we have another initiation. So this is a card of initiation. It's a card of rebirth. So this is the time of rebirth now. And moving right along, what we do next, for those that are new, welcome. And what we do next is we pull a meditation card for the week for us. Everybody that's here live and watching as a video, you are us. And this is what Spirit is saying, that of the best card to meditate on this week, to you learn the most, discover the most, and grow the most. I guess that's explaining it. All right. Lots and lots of tea. From Patricia's saying, I'm having my black tea. Usually I'm green tea or ginger tea, but like I said, I've been working almost, it feels like almost nonstop. All right, so Spirit, pull me to the right card. Top card it is. Top card is this one. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe it looks like he's tired also. So anyways, the way we meditate with tarot cards, 1111, the way we meditate with tarot cards, or the way that I recommend doing it, is that you get nice and relaxed, very present, have like a mental image of this card, or if you have your own tarot deck, you use your own deck. And then you just kind of step into the scene and just kind of look around in the scene. And just by the energy of this card, it's kind of giving me the feeling, just as almost like a statement on it, and me especially, that we really need to make sure that we're resting and that we're getting balance. Because this is kind of like it almost looks like a tree and there's bearing fruit, and it almost looks like that's like a plower or farmer or somebody, and it's kind of like, I need a break. It's like things are going too slowly. But 7 is a very intuitive number. Pentacles are of the earth. So when you step into the card, you may see scenes that aren't available in this kind of window into a new scene or a new vibration and energy. So when you step in, gauge how you feel, like who you meet in the card. You may meet your spirit guides giving you some information or stuff like that. So in any event, so if you like to do meditation with tarot cards, this is what Spirit, through me is recommending that we do. So next on the agenda is we do a 3-card spread, just on the energies of the week. It may be generally predictive of events, but mostly this is really about us and spiritual guidance for us for this coming week, based on the energies and what's going on in the collective consciousness. Moving right along. This is a really good time to do the shadow work, by the way, shadow work integration. I just taught a class for Mirabai of Woodstock on that the other night. There's a really good class. It came off really well. So one of the things I like to say, because this is Halloween, this is the season of the shadows, people, when they hear about shadow work, they automatically assume it's going to be something negative, like, ooh, shadows, oh my goodness. But all it is it's the hidden parts of ourselves. And unresolved shadows or shadow aspects can cause negative patterns in our lives and negative results. But veiled within the shadows are aspects of our own soul and our own spirit. So when you do shadow work integration, you start to reintegrate portions of your soul that may have been, or spirit that may have been, kind of trapped in events or traumas or programming or other events in your life. And it's really about becoming whole. And when you shine the light of awareness on the shadows, they cease to be shadows. So on Halloween and on Samhain, people, part of the custom of dressing up and being in costumes, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's helped to scare away the negative spirits, and then they would I think use turnips or gourds and carve these scary faces in them. And of course, I don't have a jack-o'-lantern, but at least I have a pumpkin here. And so it's interesting how a very uniquely American holiday really draws its roots from other cultures. And part of the this ritual of dressing up is it's the new year. It's like a new beginning. So a lot of people will dress up in costumes of what they want to manifest for the coming year. So yeah, if you're maybe have your costumes picked out or whatever. Um, yeah, you can keep that in mind also because this is the new year. This is like the season of death. Things die, then they get reborn. So just a couple of little, Halloween Samhain customs I wanted to share. I'm not sure about the trick or treat part. I read something about that not too long ago, but I don't remember. If anybody has some insight into that, you're welcome to share. Anyway, I'm going to pull 3 cards. And I just need to clear my mind a second. 1, 2, nope. 2, 3. Okay. So if you guys are new, we're very high tech around here, I must say. And ta-da! Wow, the Emperor and the Empress. Oh my goodness, that's pretty powerful energy. And leading in from the 5 of Pentacles. So the major arcana cards tend to represent shifts in consciousness. And yeah, it's interesting because the Emperor and the Empress, I mean, they're the rulers, right? The Emperor's sort of the male aspect, the Empress is the female aspect. It's like the father and the mother. And so a couple of things that kind of come to mind, because Pentacles can represent things like money, security, and stuff like that. But I'm noticing a lot of what's drawing my attention is the bandages on the heads on this card. And actually, this figure has it much more than the other one. That can be very much akin or aligned to what I was talking about shadow aspects, about unresolved traumas and stuff like that, because that's about psychic wounding. That's why the bandage is on the head here. And it's kind of like the light, it's sort of like it's a church, I think, or or something like that. But so the light is right there. It's like the salvation is right there, but the figures are looking in the other direction and going in the other direction. So sometimes this will come up if there's a little bit of a dark night of the soul. But also it can be really about just kind of sort of weighing in on where your strengths are and where your blessings are, and to not to necessarily feel that you're being shunned by society, or because you have different views, or different ways of handling what's going on in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be left out in the cold with things. And if you're really able to vibrate through the heart center, and I talk a lot about heart and heart brain coherency here on the channel, raising the emotional frequency of the heart, you can start to change the vibrations in and around your body and your spirit, and that changes the realities in your life also. But this could be about teachers. It can also be about governments. It can be about rulerships. So especially around midweek, we may hear about some news. Again, a lot of this is really about control and the agendas of control and corruption and manipulation and everything. So pay attention to what's going on, with the financial markets. And I'm hearing reinvesting. So if you have money in stocks or 401s or whatever, you may want to really do some research. And I tend to recommend people to maybe invest in precious metals because they'll always have value. Things that are crypto in nature, crypto and cryptic, are too similar, with the same prefixes for me to really trust that. I mean, some people make a lot of money, but but that's not for me. Like that type of investing isn't really for me. And and the Empress, it's very positive energy. They're all upright also. Um, but we really have to stay on top of things. And the Emperor card especially is about self mastery and mastering kind of like the lower impulses or more negative patterns or programs that we have. So this is to me is a real call to work on your own reprogramming. And also the word restructuring comes up in my mind. In other words, maybe it's a good week to just think about how things are structured in your life or your financial affairs or personal affairs, and just kind of examine like what's working and what isn't working. Samhain, Halloween, All Hallows Eve. It's a really good time to let go because it's an ending. So we you have some of the rituals that are done is we kind of write things down that we don't want to carry into this next year on a piece of paper, and then we kind of burn it in the Samhain fire. Of course, not everybody's going to have a fire, but you can bury it, or what. Sometimes what I do is I write it down, and then I go outside with my butane lighter, and that becomes my Samhain fire. Uh, but the Empress is expansion. It's key three. It's growth. It's nurturance. It's the mother vibration. It's the mother energy. Nurture yourselves. Um, I think we're gonna hear a couple of things. They're showing me the number two. I mean, it's like there's already been a lot of things that are unsettling. Oh, I don't know if that was an eagle, but a rather large bird flew above. And yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, I saw a really big eagle flying, by the tree lines, out my window, and I hadn't seen an eagle for like a long time. But during the spring, I used to see them every day, and then I hadn't seen them for months. So eagles can be about rebirth. Also, it's about vision. It's about the eagles stand at the east of the medicine wheel and open the doors of spiritual illumination. So, the feeling that I get, take care of yourselves. Don't buy into fear programming. When we're in fear, it's a survival instinct. It draws energy to survival. But if you're hearing something unsettling in the news, it's not like your life is being threatened. And sometimes it takes reprogramming. It takes mental training, but now's the time to start because it's a rebirth. That when you find yourself going into fear mode, that can be palpitations, adrenaline rush. You know what that feels like. Sometimes you just hear something on the news or whatever. Try to, best of your ability, flip that. In other words, instead of being that fear, just experience it from an observer standpoint, and then let it go that way, and then shift that into more of like a compassion or gratitude. So gratitude's a good fear buster. And no matter what, we're all going to be okay. Change is scary. We're leaving the cusp of the awakening of the awakening of collective consciousness, moving into the heart of it now. It's an uncertain time, but when we go into fear mode, we take all the energy and we bring it into a survival, like getting through like a survival situation. That includes your immune system, by the way, just to clue you in. I think all of you know that, or most of you do. So when we're in fear, panic, cortisol, adrenaline, it's great if you're being, if a polar bear is bearing down, and you because that's what fear is for. It's to help you to survive, but it draws energy from other function, including the immune function. But when you practice heart coherence and really feel gratitude, it actually enhances your immune system. And there's empirical data that proves that. I think it's that there's some stuff on Heart Math Institute, but you can certainly look up people like Joe Dispenza that has their fingers on the pulse of this whole conscious evolution, kind of marrying modern science with with ancient spirituality, through the tools of quantum physics, which, by the way, is not new. People kind of think of quantum physics that don't know as this kind of new pseudoscience. There were quantum physicists in the 1930s, so it's definitely not a new thing. But the more we discover, the more amazing it is, and the more we can understand that what the mystics have been telling us for thousands of years is actually starting to be validatable and provable through science. So, in any regard, yeah, thank you, Carla. Yeah, it's intentional deep breathing. And according to Greg Braden, feel compassion, care, appreciation, gratitude, or any combination of those four emotion that raises the emotional frequency of the heart. The heart and the brain have cells that are unique only to those two organs in the body. So what happens to the heart happens to the brain and vice versa. So when you raise the emotional frequency of the heart, you raise the frequency of the brain also. So it expands your crown chakra, intuition. It expands your ability to heal. Like I healed from disease that doctors said was incurable, but it's not. It's just they don't understand, about energy yet, and intention, and mind over matter yet. They're learning, but they don't quite get that yet. So Emperor is really a mind over matter energy. It's Aries actually. It's not, but Mars rules Aries. He's holding an Oct, the symbol of life. He's holding it. Looks like a crystal ball. That's divination. That's being able to you know see into the future, so to speak. And the Empress is really about nurturance. Try to get out into nature, meditate, be good to yourself, nurture yourself. A really wonderful simple meditation. Just put your hands on your heart chakra and just inhale, feel the energy around you, coming into your body. Exhale and project through your hands and right into your heart. That's one way you can just really quickly raise the emotional frequencies of the heart. Other than that, I just think that if I can, glean anything else from this, it feels like to me it's more like a preparatory week. I feel like they're saying, this is a good time to maybe get some supplies, in case, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. As we go deeper into the Great Awakening and the systems of government, the systems of money, the world systems continue to crumble, because that has to happen to be rebuilt on a more conscious foundation. And it's already happening. The shells are already empty, but there may be further delays or what's the right word? You further problems with the supply chains. There's I don't know this, so this is just what people are saying, though it resonates with me. But there may be an agenda behind that. There may be a deliberate withholding of certain supplies, for reasons that I'm not going to go into right now or quite yet. But I have at other times. But anyways, oh, cool. Okay. Number two. Did I get number two? November 2nd. That's selection day, right? Um, could be. All right. So I think we got that. So it's 11:30. I don't know why I feel like there's another message here. Maybe I need more tea. Let's just say have a plan. Um, okay. What it was, I kind of left that last thought sort of hanging. That's what it was. Yeah. So, um, for every adult, a gallon of water a day. So, have bottled water on hand, in case the grid goes out, which can happen anytime. The magnetic field of the planet is decreasing. That's part of the Earth's awakening. We're likely heading into a polar shift, which changes a lot of things. Also, by the way, but have that, have food and stuff like that. I would say as far as water goes, maybe for at least a week or two, dried food for a couple of months. Again, it's preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. But we may go through a period where pickings are slim on the shelves, and it's good to be prepared. That would be over the winter months, by the way. So I feel like they're just saying have a plan and understand that things may we may see things that are shocking, that we've never seen before, that we didn't think could happen on American soil or on the planet. So, it's this new moon, comes in, with a bang because it's a Scorpio new moon. It's on the 4th. It's got Uranus um, in opposition, which is the revolutionary. It's kind of like the Big Bang planet, and of course it's a new moon, so the moon is conjunct the sun, which means the moon is also opposition Uranus. And we have interesting aspects tomorrow. I forgot what it was, but in any event, I think that's what I needed to say. So next on the agenda, I have my Native American deck. And I just like to pull a card from this and just see what the energy is of this. So I think I got this already. Counting Coup, this card. I got it in reverse, so I actually pulled it this way. But this is what the card looks like. Yeah, and the Emperor card, which is Aries, which is Martian, which can be warlike. Yeah, we may start to really catch wind of revolting. It is some sort of a revolution that's happening. Not necessarily like the American Revolution, although we're coming up to the country's Pluto return on the first pass of the Pluto return is on February 20th, 2022. So that's 2022 is the nation's first Pluto return, and Pluto will be in the nation's second house. So a lot of 2 energy, which is finance and structure. That's what the second house represents. And of course, after what happened after after the signing of the Declaration, there was a revolutionary war going on. Just because the country declared independence doesn't mean that the British necessarily honored that. So keep that in mind. These are the times we're heading in. Not to be fear-based about it, to be more like empowered by the fact that people are waking up, and that these systems that are not only outdated, but they're not fair, and they're supporting these powers that be that are making it hard for everybody. Since March 2020, the richest people in the world are 50% richer. And of course, again, I'm not expressing an opinion or putting out any conspiracy theories. This is just what is. So if they're 50% richer, and we're talking about what? Less than 1% of the world population, less than 0.1%. Where's that money coming from? And it's Pfizer that's making 16 billion, and then now Merck's getting in on the act. So there's a corrupt triad between pharmaceuticals / big business, media, and governments, and it's a corrupt flow of power, and people are waking up, and there's a lot of suppression to the awakening, and coming at us in a lot of different fronts. It's really a full-on spiritual war that's happening. So the revolution may be more of an internal one, rather than a guns and bombs kind of one. But it's happening, and I think that's what Counting Coup is trying to tell us. And it starts by overcoming the, I don't want to say the ego, because the ego is not negative. It's part of who we are as individual consciousnesses, being part of a collective. But it's overcoming the lower aspects, like the part of us that's been programmed, that's adapted false beliefs. It's kind of like we're breaking out of that, but the powers that be don't want that, because then they start to lose control of things. So it's a big battle that's going to start coming to a head, and I think we're going to start to get a little bit of a flavor of that as we go into the new moon, especially as we approach the lunar eclipse on the full moon in about 2.5 weeks. Okay, so let's move on to what the animals have to say, and I'll pull an angel card. Do I have my angel cards? Oh, I do. Okay. For a second, I was saying the angels aren't here, but no, they are. Okie doke. Here we go. So this is Steve Farmer's. The fact that somebody named Farmer has an animal deck, I think it's really cute. So Steve Farmer's. I don't have the box with me, but I think they're called spirit guide animals, or something like that. Okay, this one. We got the seagull. Well, I know they're scavengers. But let me see what they're saying here. Do I need my glasses? No. Now is the time for deep emotional healing. Those of you that do tarot time with me on a regular basis, you're aware there's always a continuity between the different cards. It's not me, it's spirit, obviously. So that's basically the message. That this is the time. It's Samhain. It's the death time. Emotional healing would be really a big part of it. We have to understand that emotions are energy emotions. So what we experience as an emotion is how the body responds to energy. That's all that it is. Emotions are hormones. And we basically have a whole kind of a pharmaceutical factory going on in our body with, what is it, 70 or 80 different hormones that fire in varying levels and volumes, depending on what energy we're experiencing at the moment. Fear is a very powerful emotion, for example, but that's not even the lowest on the emotional frequency scale. I think, although I have to look this up. I think that's according to Dr. David Hawkins, but I might be mistaken. But I think at the very bottom are guilt and shame. And what's going on? How do people control others? Through fear, right? But also through guilting and shaming people. And we have to understand we need to be in the present. I can think about really effed up things I did in the past, and I can go into that guilt and shame mentality, or I can be present and learn from the experience, and at this moment be the best person that I can be. So we really want to transmute these lower frequencies into higher frequencies. So that's our task this new year. And we're human, and what we believe and the way we respond emotionally are programmed into us. So they're not even our beliefs and our emotions, they're programmed into us. So we need to learn how to be the observer rather than the reactor to our emotions. We'll feel emotions. I do. I feel negative ones. I feel fear. I feel all that stuff. But I'm learning how to observe them and not allow that to be part of me. And therefore, I can learn and grow from that and return to that place of love, of peace, of compassion, of gratitude. So anyway, that's Seagull's message, I believe. And where are we? So this is messages from the angels, my favorite angel divination deck by Doreen Virtue. And we shall see what I picked from this. Okay. Angels Rosetta. I think this has actually a little bit of a different meaning. Oh, let me show you guys. This looks more like a cherub than an angel, but we'll take it. Beautiful imagery here. You have a gift for working with young people, and your divine purpose involves helping, teaching, or parenting children. So, how about this as an interpretation? Nurture the child within. And I think one of the things I shared in my shadow integration class was a exercise that I do actually with Archangel Raphael. And I do every night, unless I've had an especially long day and I can't. But in the evenings, part of my spiritual routine is I'll do energy cleansing and clearing. Um, because I work a lot with people that have a lot of challenges and issues, being a psychic and a medium. If you work with the public, especially if you do counseling, healing, that kind of work, it's good to energetically clear. So I use the elements, or I'll use white light, or I'll use breath work. Inhale love and light into my heart, circulate that around, clear like cords or energy from other people, that kind of a thing. The more I grow on YouTube. In fact, today or tomorrow, we're probably going to pass 2,000 subscribers on the channel. So thank you, everybody, for that. The more I feel energy, because not everybody approves of what I do. And the thing is, when I was younger, that would stop me in my tracks, because I would just feel the energy, disapproval. And that was one of my shadows, disapproval as a child. And, it became a whole like negative pattern in my life. But now it's like, oh, good. This gives me impetus to keep doing what I'm doing. It's like people are paying attention. Good. But I do clear the energies, and I do nurture the child within. So one of the very first times I did this process, and it just happened very spontaneously. Like, I was working with Archangel Raphael. I went on the journey. Then I was taken to my bedroom when I was 6 years old, and I just saw myself crying, and I was sent to my room, probably beaten. There's a reason I have a lot of shadow aspects, and I'm clearing. Finally in my 60s, but and then I just started talking to my 6-year-old self and just telling him, "No, you're really loved. You're really special. You're beautiful." Yeah, because the child was feeling very rejected, very lost, very unloved at that time. And he's saying, things have to be hard because you have a special mission in life. And then I could literally see and feel, it's very palpable, like this child version of myself at 6 years old, kind of rubbing the tears and almost like smiling. And then I took the child, hugged him, brought him back into my heart chakra, and then with Archangel Raphael, returned to the present. So that's one of the shadow integration techniques that I teach people. So, anyways, that's what I have for you guys tonight. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do messages, mediumship here on the channel that I do 8 times a year. It's my way of just saying thank you, serving spirits, serving you, serving myself. It also helps to draw some attention to my channel and my work. So it's a one of those symbiotic things that I do for the public. And then Wednesday at 7, that's when I'm going to do the Ascension updates for November, like what's happening in the energies with the awakening. And I'll prepare that, and I'll make it a lot more succinct in October, because I listened to that whole hour presentation. I was saying, okay, I need to learn to be a little less wordy and a little more succinct. I could have said that in a half hour, so we're going to aim for a half hour rather than an hour. But anyways, thank you, everybody. Oh, and Thursday, Heather and I are doing a Zoom transmission together for the new moon. Very powerful new moon with the Uranus opposition and Scorpio. So what's opposite Scorpio? Taurus, right? So that's where Uranus is. I think it's Taurus. I'm a little out of it. I apologize. Yeah, it is. And then on the 8th, Monday, I believe 1 o'clock, Sharita Starr, very brilliant astrologer, numerologist that knows what's going on. She's very intuitive also, and very dynamic. She's going to be telling us more about what's going on, for the rest of the autumn. And for those that want a little bit more of the astrology on YouTube. Check out Armand Diaz and Integral Astrology. If you want to get more of a personalized tarot forecast, check out Amy. Her channel's called Elevated Intuition, Spirituality, and Tarot. And her readings are always a lot of fun and very informative. All right, so somebody's not getting the audio. I guess, Mary, you must be the only one because everybody else is hearing me. So you can watch this as a video then. I'm not, either that or my audio cut out. If that happened, I apologize. Okay, so the new moon is Thursday, so that's Thursday's new moon. The email to get the Zoom login, it's free. So all you have to do to get the login is info@atombetweentheworlds.com. So that's info@atombetweentheworlds.com. And then and Wednesday I'll be back on the Medium channel doing a live event. Thursday's upload is about how to get yes, no responses from spirit. So that'll be that upload. On 11/11, I'm going to be doing also a transmission here for 11/11. That's a week from Thursday. What else? I thought there's one other thing. Since I can't think about it, I guess we're good. So the one other thing was, if you guys want to check out my latest video, it's for Halloween. It's about real witches, but I shot it, in the high country of the Catskills during peak foliage season. So there's a lot of beautiful imagery, as well as some kind of basic facts about modern witchcraft and Wicca and things like that. So check it out. It's a good video, and thanks for being here. Namaste.